coming to you from Flying Field again. I'd like to talk to you for just a second about one of our most important little items we've got in our kit, and that's our bug floatant. There's literally, well, in this shop alone, we actually have 10 different kinds of bug floatant out there. And they all actually are a little different, and they do have their own specific application. The most common, which most of you have probably used, a silicone-based floatant. Most common, probably the Gink right there. Our grandfathers used it, our fathers used it. It's been around for a long time, and it's still a proven winner. There's a couple of different kinds of silicone-based fly floatants. Loon Aquel happens to be a personal favorite. The only reason I do prefer it a little bit over the Gink is it's a little more temperature stable. For those of you who've used the Gink, a lot of times in the winter time, this stuff gets very hard. You're digging it out with your forceps, and in the summertime, sometimes it gets very liquid-like and you're wearing it on your shirt. The next type is the powdered varieties, or the desiccants. I actually carry both the silicone style and one of the powdered varieties, and the reason I do that, the powdered varieties work very well for specifically two things. One, on CDC dries, where we're not wanting to use a gel-type floatant that will gum up some of the natural oils and so forth in the feathers. And the other application is once we've got a drowned fly, after the fly has actually absorbed a lot of water and starts sinking on us, the dry shakes or the powdered versions tend to work great as a desiccant and actually will pull moisture back out of the fly. Comes in a couple of different colors. Your standard white varieties and what's called the dry shake done, which doesn't leave as much of a white residue on the fly. Works great for small, dark little dry flies and in a lot of different situations. The third, which has become, honestly, almost more popular than all, but is kind of the newest, are the liquids. Things like your Flyagra, your dry shake liquid. These are really a pre-treatment and they work fantastic. The pre-treatment, these really require the fly to dry out before you use them. In other words, you're dipping the fly in the liquid, letting the fly dry, and it adds an incredible amount of water repellency to the fly and keeps the fly afloat, arguably for longer than any of the others. They range in price from $5 on up to as much as almost $30, believe it or not, for some of the sprays. But each one has its own application and works very well. If you have any other questions about floating or anything else, stop on by the shop and we'll let you know.